What if I told you that most of the thoughts you think each day aren't yours? The way you talk to yourself, the doubts that rise out of nowhere, the truths you've never questioned because everyone just knows them. They were installed, not yesterday, not last year, but slowly, from birth. Before you could speak, before you could defend, your mind was being coded by parents repeating what they were taught, by screens flashing what to desire, by schools rewarding obedience, not curiosity, by systems that told you who you are before you even had a chance to ask. And the scariest part? It was never done out of evil. It was done out of automation. You were born into a machine that runs on agreement, and from your first breath, it whispered, "Fit in. Stay small. Don't question. This is just how life works." But something in you, something ancient, has never fully bought it. That ache you feel, that restlessness, that subtle feeling that reality is off, that you're wearing someone else's life, that's your signal. You're not broken. You're awakening. And in this video, we're going to pull back the veil. We're going to expose how your mind was hijacked, how the loop was installed, and how you break the code. But be warned, once you see it, you can't go back. You didn't choose your first beliefs. They were downloaded. Before you even knew how to form a sentence, you were absorbing emotion, energy, and repetition. Your subconscious mind was wide open, like a sponge with no filter, and the world poured itself in. You didn't know what money was, but you saw how it made adults panic, fight, worship. You didn't know what success meant, but you noticed who got praised and who got ignored. You didn't know what love was, but you watched what got called love, and it didn't always feel safe. These early patterns didn't come with warning labels. No one said, "Hey, we're installing limiting beliefs now." This version of reality is incomplete and deeply distorted. You may spend decades trying to uninstall this. It just became you. Because the subconscious doesn't need words. It needs emotion, it's repetition, and that's exactly what you got. And once the code was in place, everything that followed, school, media, religion, culture, just reinforced it. They gave you the same rules in different packaging. Be realistic. Don't stand out. Do what you're told. Don't trust your feelings. Life is hard, and then you die. And here's the part they never told you. Every time you accepted those beliefs, you stopped writing your own. You stopped creating from truth and started functioning like a program, running inherited software, responding to cues, never realizing that the script was someone else's. But now, the cracks are showing, the script is glitching, the questions are rising, and for the first time, you're not ignoring them, you're looking, and that changes everything. You were never put in a cage, you were trained to stay inside one, without even seeing it. They didn't need walls, they used something more efficient, reward and punishment. When you said what they wanted, you were called good. You got love, applause, safety. When you questioned, rebelled, or followed your own inner truth, you were met with silence, disapproval, isolation. Over time, your nervous system learned the rules. Don't stand out. Don't be too loud. Don't think differently. Don't speak what you really feel. And every time you obeyed, you got a hit of something powerful. Belonging. It felt like love. but it was compliance, a system of energetic bribery. Be what we expect, or be alone. They didn't need to program your mind with force. They used repetition, reward, and fear, until you became your own handler. Think about it. How often do you silence yourself before anyone else even speaks? How many dreams did you delete because they didn't make sense? How many moments did you feel truth rise in your chest, but swallowed it to stay safe? That's the code working perfectly. And the worst part, you thought it was you. You thought those thoughts of, "I'm not good enough. This is just how life works. I'll never make it," were yours. But they're not. They're echoes, scripts, reflexes passed down by people who were also programmed. You inherited a mental operating system that was never designed for your expansion. But now you've noticed the loop, and once you see the pattern, you can break it. The cage was never locked. You were just trained not to look for the door. Here's the biggest lie they never wanted you to question. If you think it, it must be true. If it's in your head, it must be you. But that's not how the mind works. Thoughts are like frequencies. They pass through, they rise up, they land, and they go. But somewhere along the way, you were taught to identify with them. So when a voice inside you whispered, "I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. They'll never love me," you didn't ask, "Where did that come from?" You just believed it. And that belief, it became a loop. What you think becomes what you feel. What you feel shapes what you do. What you do becomes what you attract. And then the world reflects your loop back to you like it's some kind of truth. But here's what they don't want you to realize. Most of your thoughts were planted by school, by media, by family, by culture, by repetition. And when something is repeated often enough, with enough emotion and authority, your subconscious doesn't question it. It stores it, builds from it, protects it like a law. That's why affirmations feel like lies at first. You say, "I am powerful," but your nervous system flinches, not because it isn't true, but because it's new. You're not weak, you're just running old code, and the real awakening starts when you stop believing every thought and start watching them instead. Because once you can witness them, you can rewrite them. Once you question them, you take your power back. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one hearing it. And the moment you realize that, you've already started breaking the code. They didn't need to chain your body. They just had to program your emotions. The three most powerful tools they used: fear, shame, guilt. Each one designed not to hurt you outright, but to redirect you back into the system. Fear says, if you step out of line, you'll lose everything. So you stay small, stay silent, stay safe. In jobs you hate, in roles you didn't choose, in lives that feel like slow deaths. Shame says, you're not worthy, not enough, not lovable. So you hide, you perform, you strive to prove you matter, even if it means betraying yourself. Guilt says, who do you think you are? You're selfish for wanting more, Don't forget who gave you what you have. So you stay loyal to people and patterns that keep you stuck. You sabotage the very freedom you're craving. You choose suffering because you think you deserve it. These emotions aren't bad, they're human, but the system hijacked them, turned them into levers, ways to pull you back into obedience whenever your truth got too loud. And worst of all, they taught you to police yourself, to feel guilt for resting, to feel shame for setting boundaries, to feel fear for being seen. They taught you to think, if it feels right but goes against the system, it must be wrong. That's how deeply the code was embedded. But now you're seeing it. And what you see, you can rewire. The truth, you were never meant to be ruled by fear. You were meant to witness it, then walk through it. You were never meant to carry shame. You were meant to transmute it into power. You were never meant to drown in guilt. You were meant to rise in self-trust. They used these emotions to control you. Now you get to use them to set yourself free. You can't outrun your subconscious. You can't fight it with logic, because it's not listening to arguments. It's listening to patterns. Your subconscious mind is like a powerful operating system. It doesn't care what you want. It cares what you repeatedly believe. It doesn't respond to motivation. It responds to impression. And the system knew this. That's why it gave you beliefs through repetition, emotion symbols, stories, rituals. So if you want to break the old code, you have to use the same tools, but with intention. You don't just delete beliefs, you overwrite them. That means feeding your mind with truths that feel uncomfortable but expansive. Repeating what you want to believe, not just when you feel good, but especially when you don't. Using silence to reprogram noise. Associating new beliefs with strong emotion, joy, awe, love, power, and most importantly, consistency over intensity. Because the old code wasn't installed in a day, it was layered over years. But here's the power you've got now. You're awake, and an awakened mind, its intention, its repetition, transformation. This isn't fake positivity. This isn't manifesting while ignoring your trauma. This is recoding the field. You say, I am safe in my truth. I choose alignment over approval. My worth is not tied to my productivity. I create reality from frequency, not fear. And your subconscious, slowly, stubbornly, starts to shift. The reality around you begins to echo your new code. The loops begin to break. The people who mirrored your past begin to disappear. And space opens up. Space for truth, for joy, for the real you. The one who was never programmed, only waiting to be remembered. Here's the truth that flips the game. Reality doesn't just happen to you. It's happening from you. What you believe, deep in your subconscious, not what you say, not what you post, but what you truly hold, gets projected outward like a blueprint. You think people just treat you that way? You think life just works like this? You think your story is random? No. Your external world is the mirror of your internal code. If your inner code says, I don't deserve more, you'll keep hitting invisible ceilings. People will leave if I'm real. You'll keep attracting fragile connections. I must earn love through struggle. You'll sabotage ease over and over. And it's not punishment, it's precision. Reality will always mirror the code, not to hurt you, but to wake you up. So when your world feels stuck, chaotic, heavy, don't fight the symptoms. Trace the code. Ask, what do I still believe that keeps creating this? Whose voice is running this script? What part of me thinks this is all I'm allowed to have? And when you start shifting the beliefs, the mirror shifts too. Suddenly people treat you with more respect, not because they changed, but because you stopped tolerating disrespect energetically. You receive more opportunities, not because luck arrived, but because you stopped filtering reality through lack. The outside world is delayed feedback. It reflects who you were until it can't anymore, because who you are now is different. This is the new game. Change the code. Reality has no choice but to follow. So here you are, not at the beginning, not at the end, but at the edge of the old code, and the first step into the real you. And maybe for the first time, you understand. You were never broken. You were programmed, trained, conditioned, layered with beliefs that were never yours. But now you're watching the script burn. Now you're feeling the lies lose their grip. Now you're remembering who was buried underneath the noise. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to deprogram yourself. You don't need more information. You need integration. The truth is, you were powerful before they told you who to be. You were whole before they sold you shame. You were free before they taught you how to fear yourself. And everything that made you feel too much, your emotion, your fire, your resistance, your clarity, was never a flaw. It was the code fighting back. So now the question is no longer, what did they do to me? The question is, what will I do now that I see it? Because this is the power you've earned. You can now write the script. You can now choose the loop. You can now design a reality that speaks your frequency, not your fear. No one's coming to save you. No one needs to. Because the one who was buried beneath the programming, the one you thought was lost forever, was always waiting, right here, right now, awake, ready. And the code? The real code? It's not what they gave you. It's what you're here to build.